What if I told you that the most chilling moments in Scripture weren't just stories, but warnings? Imagine standing in a graveyard outside Gadara. The air goes still, and then a voice that isn't human speaks through human lips. What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? Not me, but us. How many voices were trapped inside that tortured man? And why does the Bible record their exact words? Stay with me, because the answer might be more relevant to your life than you think. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we dive in, take a second to hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next week. Trust me, you'll want to hear it. Today we're exploring something that many Christians often skim over, the actual recorded voices of demons in Scripture. Not just the concept of evil, but the documented words spoken by dark entities. By the end of this video, you'll understand why these passages weren't just included for dramatic effect, but as crucial spiritual intelligence for believers today. But first, have you ever wondered why Jesus allowed demons to speak at all? He could have silenced them instantly. Instead, he sometimes permitted a brief, chilling dialogue. The question is, why? When we examine Scripture closely, we notice something fascinating about demonic encounters. They reveal truth through their fear. In Mark 1:24, a demon cries out to Jesus, "What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." Think about this. Before many humans recognized Jesus' divinity, the demons already knew exactly who he was. As theologian N.T. Wright points out, the demonic forces recognize Jesus' authority when many human observers still don't understand. This reveals something profound. Spiritual entities operate with a different level of awareness than we do. They recognized the divine authority that many humans missed. The implications of this are staggering when we consider our own spiritual battles today. Now let's examine perhaps the most intense demonic encounter in Scripture, the Gadarene demoniac in Mark 5, a man possessed by so many demons that they call themselves Legion. This wasn't just any possession case. This man lived among the tombs, a place of death. He couldn't be restrained even with chains. He cried out day and night, cutting himself with stones. But when Jesus approaches, something remarkable happens. The demons speak directly.
"What have you to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I adjure you by God, do not torment me."
Notice three things here. 1. They immediately recognize Jesus' authority. 2. They refer to the Most High God, acknowledging divine hierarchy. 3. They fear torment and judgment. Biblical scholar Michael Heiser notes that this encounter demonstrates a cosmic geography where territorial spiritual forces recognize boundaries and authority. These weren't just random scary voices. They were spiritual entities operating within a divine order they understood better than most humans did. Throughout the Gospels, we see this pattern repeatedly. In Luke 4:41, "And demons also came out of many, crying, 'You are the Son of God.' But he rebuked them and would not allow them to speak, because they knew that he was the Christ." In Acts 16:16-18, the demonic spirit in the slave girl cries out about Paul and Silas,
"These men are servants of the Most High God, who proclaim to you the way of salvation."
Each time the demonic voices demonstrate recognition of divine authority, knowledge of spiritual realities, fear of judgment. But here's where it gets personal. What if these weren't just included as historical curiosities, but as practical insight for our spiritual battles today? Have you ever considered that understanding the nature of demonic voices in Scripture might help you identify negative spiritual influences in your own life? Early church father Origen wrote that demons speak through thoughts, impulses, and emotions contrary to faith and virtue. Those voices haven't gone silent. They've just changed their tactics. When you feel overwhelming despair, hear thoughts of worthlessness, or face temptations that seem to know your exact weaknesses, you might be experiencing the modern equivalent of what those biblical encounters revealed. The enemy still speaks, just not always audibly. Pastor Timothy Keller once observed that the greatest trick of spiritual warfare isn't making you believe demons don't exist, but making you think every problem is merely psychological or circumstantial. This isn't about seeing demons behind every difficulty. It's about recognizing that the spiritual battle documented in Scripture continues today in ways both subtle and profound. So how do we apply this understanding? By learning to distinguish between voices. The demonic voices in Scripture have specific characteristics. 1. They create chaos and isolation. The demoniac was alone among tombs. 2. They resist and fear divine authority. 3. They twist truth while inadvertently revealing it. In contrast, God's voice brings peace even in hard truth. 1 Kings 19:12. Operates in community and restoration. Aligns perfectly with Scripture. Church historian Justo Gonzalez points out that throughout church history, discernment of spirits, the ability to distinguish divine influence from demonic, was considered an essential Christian discipline, not a fringe specialty. This isn't about paranoia. It's about awareness. The same Jesus who commanded demons to be silent offers us His Word and Spirit to recognize truth from deception. Here's what's fascinating. Every demonic encounter in Scripture ends with the same result. The demons lose. Every single time. Despite their supernatural knowledge and power, they immediately submit to Christ's authority. As James 2:19 reminds us, even the demons believe and shudder. This offers us extraordinary hope. Whatever spiritual battles we face, the outcome isn't in question. The authority that made demons tremble in the first century hasn't diminished. The victory demonstrated in those ancient encounters is still available to believers today. The demonic voices recorded in Scripture weren't preserved merely to frighten us or provide dramatic biblical stories. They were documented as evidence of a spiritual reality we still navigate, and more importantly, as testimony to Christ's absolute authority over that reality. When we read these accounts with fresh eyes, we gain something invaluable, spiritual insight that helps us recognize and resist the same negative influences in our modern context. And we find reassurance that the one who silenced demons with a word stands ready to fight our battles too. So next time you read these passages, don't just see ancient history. See a battle plan for today, written by the victor himself. If this video helped you see these biblical accounts in a new light, hit that like button and share with someone who needs this perspective. Drop a comment below with your thoughts or questions. And remember, the same power that made demons tremble is available to you right now. Until next time. keep standing in faith.